Watch how they're mocking, ready to fall, and the bosses are bounding to the sound of the drum. When it feels like your heart has been led and there's no more left to be said, so lying up to fall. There are 10 million souls who are feeling like you, 10 million more who are finding the truth, and it feels like you're right where you belong. When 10 million voices are one. If you finally had enough, turn your fist to the sun. It's time to raise your voices and become one. And now winter is coming, she's praising us all. Watch how they're mocking, ready to fall. Our voices are pounding to the sound of the drum. When it feels like your heart has been led and there's no more left to be said, so lying not to fall. There are 10 million souls who are feeling like you, 10 million more who are finding the truth, and it feels like you're right where you belong. When 10 million voices are one, lay down their guns and leave us alone. Will you have stones where the open your eyes, 'cause you got to make up your mind. If it feels like your heart has been led and there's no more left to be said, trying not to fall. When it feels like your heart has been led and there's no more left to be said, trying not to
A little bit of an advantage here. He wants to make sure that they can get the vision, and the hook lands.
It does. It's going to go on the tilt. He's in a lot of trouble. Can he get out? He's going to flash. He's fine for now. We're going to see the calling come out for Schwifty, but it's not going to matter. He dashes out. We do see that Dorjan gets hurt. Loki does see a lot of trouble. Tilted did fall at the end, but the ultimate came out, and it looks like Harry is going to get himself a kill. No, Loki doesn't actually survive.
Fruition.
going
And
in.
now he's going in.
Kill the flash. He gets his heart down. Nurse is going to try to use any kind of barrier that she can get, but it's not going to be enough. The Just Punch does knock up Hero, and they're looking for the fight here. Nurse trying to get out of there. Stone Gates would use flash from Hero, but they're going to get one. They're going to look for the other. There's the chilling fight. Hero's going to get down. Double kill going over to Loki Dosi.
Bit of extra vision.
There's
Ultimate.
going to use. Yeah, it's going to hit on the cape, but he's going to be fine. Use the quickness and the granite. Just get the 3-man charm so far. Mango getting super low, but it doesn't look like any more fights going to happen. Toad's going in. Drops trying to get the buff on himself, but he's going to snare up Indigo, but does not matter. The Impale's going to be cleansed away. And now the fight's going to go in. That's going to be 1 kill going over the side of Cetra. That's 3 kills on the side of Cetra. No one's going to go down. They're trying to make something happen. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a clean ace for Cetra.
And essentially how they're playing this.
They're going in, looking for the fight. There's the Vanguard's edge. They're trying to kill. Oh no, but they're not able to kill him. The taunt comes out. Sundillian's going to flash forward. He does freeze him up. He's going to use the Zoe. His heroic entrance is there. You see the J pop their Harvey. He might be able to be taken down. Finally, he is. This might be the fight they want. Moody's in there. He uses the Cloud Gem. There's the stopwatch for you. Friedman's going to fall. Oh no, looks to be the next target. Meanwhile, we got Cerberus trying to push. He's doing what Tanzoni did last game.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nightfall After Hours podcast. I am your host, Zonite, and joining me today once again is going to be Cerulean and Kiba.
Hey.
Hi, what's up, guys?
And today we have Schwifty himself joining us for episode 5.
How's it going? Good to be here. Pretty excited.
Only pretty excited. That's it. That's all you got for
I
us.
mean, I can't sound too enthusiastic or,
What's wrong with being too enthusiastic now? Okay, there's no problem with that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I mean, it's
extremely excited. Let's
the
go.
Impulse Gaming Schwifty on a mediocre podcast. Okay, he's got a,
Mediocre.
He's got it all right. Hey,
Oh, man. You guys are pretty self-deprecating already, so.
it's gonna be a good show.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah.
all right. Well, for the first part of this podcast, we're gonna take a little bit more of a dive into Swifty's life and how he got into League of Legends, and maybe get a little bit more about his team.
Sure. So I started playing League back in the heyday of 2011. I was in middle school, I think. And then I just pretty much
Wow.
kept playing all through high school. And then I went to college for 2 years, dropped out, or withdrew, I should say, withdrew. And now I'm still just playing League and working until I figure out what I want to do with my life. So that's my League story. I've mained AD since like season 3 or 4, so I played it for a while. And it's best role in the game, pretty fun, so pretty hyped about that. And Impulse Ghosting, so we randomly met in this tryout for Roman Esports, which is this newish org. We were contracted to them, not really contract, but we were playing for them for a while. We met at this tryout, and there was like 20 other players, and we just got randomly matched up as like tryout team A, and we just swept the whole tournament. And then we were like, well, we're pretty good together, and so we just kept playing. And then we eventually left with Roman after like a month or so, so not like a long-term thing or anything. And then we are here, I guess. So yeah, that's our Impulse history.
So, did you play any competitive before Roman Esports, or is that your start?
Yeah. So I started playing back in high school, like my senior year. After whatever I was doing for the night, I would just play on some random team I found on Reddit, and we would just play. We played in this league called House Party 5v5, which was
I've heard of
I
that.
know what that
really,
is, yeah.
really old league. Anyway, so you've heard of it. So yeah, we played in that. It's actually where Captain Flowers
Captain Flowers, yeah.
came from. He was the caster. I played for his games that he was casting at that in that league. Also, Saligo, the 100 Thieves player, he played in that league as well. So I played against him. He played mid though. So, and now look where I am and look where he is. So
Hey,
a little,
it's okay.
little better. Anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much that. I didn't play in college because our university had like a league team, but it didn't work out. So whatever. Anyway, now I'm here.
So you said AD is the best role in the game. Can you elaborate why you think that is?
I mean, it's the best role because you can.
You can die
In terms of an enjoyment perspective, from a perspective of being the most enjoyable to play, because if you get really good at AD, you can do things that no other champions can. Like actually, and obviously all champion roles can do that, but from a like a flashy perspective, like look at the moves, like maybe nothing like some faker Zed play, but you can get stuff pretty close like that.
So from our in-houses last night, what was exactly fun of you getting one shot by APM Mumu mid?
Oh, APM Mumu mid is just really broken, I think.
I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's really broken. So there's a lot of broken things in the game, which make your experience a lot less fun. But I like APM
True.
Mumu. So yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you stuck with
Wait,
it.
who
'cause I
were
feel like
you in that game? I need to.
I was your
trust you.
support.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, you
Oh
were the
my
reason we were
God.
so behind. You were the reason we were so behind.
Okay, dude.
I forgot. I erased you from my memory because of our
Okay.
we were getting smashed by Irelia Gallery.
Whoa.
All right,
I
so
really a
next topic.
Galio.
No, yeah, let's move on here.
So,
This is
you
gonna-
guys playing in any other tournaments besides Nightfall?
Um,
Or is
we've
it
been
just
playing
Nightfall
in
as of
these.
now?
They're called Zotec Cups. They're on or Zotac. I don't know. It's this tournament on Sunday. We just finished a league that ran like a month and a half, where it was like $25. I literally just forgot the name, but it was like $25 entry for each player, and then winners got LCS finals tickets, and we got to the finals, lost, and then one of the players didn't go, so he sold me his ticket for $30, and now I get to go this Saturday. So
Oh
pretty
wow,
hyped about that.
that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and also got a statue for getting second place, so pretty nice.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, that's how it's
Does
been.
the statue have
A
the name of the win?
statue.
No, it's those from Riot merch shops. First place got
Golden
LCS
trophy.
finals tickets, and second place got you could pick whatever figurine you wanted, except
cool.
like the $60 ones. For some reason, Ezreal is $55, and all the other 80 carries are 25 and 30. So I was pretty pretty
What did
pissed about
what
that.
did you get?
I got the Vayne one. It was the second best. Ezreal then Vayne. So
Nice. So who do you think, in your opinion, is gonna win the finals, TSM or Team Liquid?
I'm hoping TSM, but I honestly, I honestly don't know. Like, really, I don't. It's gonna be really, really hype.
Didn't Team Liquid stomp FlyQuest? I only watched the TSM game. I
Yeah,
didn't see
yeah,
the
they
Team Liquid
they stomped them. The FlyQuest played pretty well one game early, and then it was just pretty much all Team Liquid from there.
Yeah,
one. TSMs do.
yeah, TSMs were like probably like one of the best series I've ever seen. Just as a TSM.
Oh,
fan.
it was so
Like,
hype.
that was
Yeah. I was
incredible. Like
watching.
especially like watching Bjergsen just be like, "Hey guys, it's time to put you on the back. I'm just not gonna die in game 3, 4, 5, and we're gonna go to
Yeah,
finals."
his Akali was 1v5. It
Yeah.
was so good. Sven played really well too. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, it was. I'm really jealous of you because I have a lot of friends in St. Louis and I really want to go.
yeah. Well,
and
that's another reason, because I live in the Midwest, and the only thing ever here is like in Chicago. So when it
Right.
was in St. Louis, I was like, damn, I am gonna
That is-
try so hard to go to that.
That's awesome.
And-
Take a lot of pictures.
I
That's
will.
gonna be awesome.
Yeah, you guys have an opportunity to go to that kind of stuff. I'm stuck all the way over here, and don't get anything unless it's like in Oakland. And then that, first off, that's so shady.
Don't you live in Sacramento?
What? There's so much stuff in
What type of-
California, and I know it's a big state,
Why?
but you can go to where do you live in California?
Sacramento.
Okay.
Go to a Kings game.
I mean,
They're pretty decent.
Yeah, a Kings game.
I don't
They
know.
almost made playoffs.
I don't
What do you
want.
mean?
I don't want to fall
yeah, they're
asleep.
doing okay this year
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like
compared
it's
to
a
the Kings
basketball game.
past. Yeah.
I don't.
De'Aaron Fox is lit.
All right. Okay, we're getting off track here. So to go forward into this podcast, we're gonna look at the Week 4 matches and talk about the two that have already happened, and also predict the next two that are going to happen.
All right. So
Touchy
I
subject.
guess we can talk about let's
Start
talk
with
about
Lakeside.
let's start with Lakeside.
Lakeside's looking really good.
Hey, they're my favorite team.
Okay, well, they just
So-
beat Cetra, and I think I casted that game. I remember.
You
Yeah,
did.
you did.
You casted
So,
the
I
Lakeside.
thought Cetra played very poorly. I mean, in my opinion, and Lakeside they look pretty good, but Cetra did play, I think, pretty bad. So
Can you elaborate more on that? What do you think was like?
I mean, there was
big-
just like, nah. I remember watching and then like trying to talk to my boy Zana after the game. It was just a lot of individual mistakes. Like I forget who the mid laner was, but Oriana,
Kessler.
who was
Kessler.
Kessler, like
best mid laner in the league.
picked Oriana twice. Also, this picked Oriana twice and didn't really do anything in the game. And then the Sonatarg bot lane obviously didn't really work out either. And it's not like cheese when it does, but since it didn't, it's like so risky, and since it didn't pay off, it's kind of like a throwaway game, honestly. Like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
shouldn't really
the-
hold that to Lakeside being like gods, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Sonateric thing, like, I mean, credit to them for trying it, especially like it's being played in the LCS and everything. Like I love when teams try to like emulate what pro teams are doing. But I mean, from what I noticed, like Tarek like was first blooded, Sona kept getting chunked out, like, I mean, they're playing against Ash Brom, I think.
They
I
had
mean,
a
I think,
really good lane. Like Lakeside won that bot lane draft.
Yeah, they won
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
They won hard. Yeah.
yeah, Yuki Bunny was playing out of his mind. Like,
That
in
was
my
the best I've
opinion.
ever seen you keep on replay.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was like one of the worst ADCs in the league, but last night, like
Yeah.
he played really well.
Yeah, good for him. But yeah, like you said, like I think the Sonateric was like just executed poorly. Like I don't know how much practice they actually put on it, and like if that really was like one of the first times they ever tried to bring that out, like that's very ballsy. And I think that especially like when you don't have like that many games in the league because you only play everyone once, I think that's really risky to do, especially when you're a middle of the pack team. Like I can see like when like a top team like Fruition or something like tries to pull this out because they feel like they're comfortable in the standings, but Cetra is one of those teams that's in the middle. So it was kind of shocking to me when they picked it and played it the way they did. So
Yeah. So Cetra, like they came out looking really strong, facing Schism, who we thought was going to be like a fourth, fifth place team, like either like middle of the pack or like a little higher.
Mhm.
But they also didn't have Dax that week. So the one win Cetrus has is versus Schism without Dax. So we've been talking them up, but maybe they're not as good as we've been saying. Because these last few weeks they haven't been looking that good.
Mm.
And
But-
we played them. We played them last week,
Okay.
and it was, yeah. We played them last week, and that's where I mean, in my opinion,
Yikes.
I'm getting most of that from. But okay. So we played them, and we had that pretty long game that we just threw really hard early, and then stalled the game out and won, and then just stomped them in like 22 minutes, game 2,
Mm.
and then they played this set against Lakeside. So I agree.
Mm.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
chat.
mean, Oceanside is like you know,
Oceanside.
they
What's the
they- I-
name? What's the name for it?
It's-
I'm
it's-
keep hearing many things.
it's tributary side. So whatever body of water you like the most, you just attach the word side gaming, and there's your team. But yeah, like in all seriousness, like they are very entertaining to me. Like I love watching their games. Like even like just their team play and like I don't know, just like feeling like invested because we put them at the bottom of the list. Like it's so cool to me, and
I agree.
I think that I really hope they succeed more and more because I think in an interview that I did with Loki and Phoenix, I think like they mentioned that they would love to see Lakeside in the finals, and I think that would be like the best Cinderella story. Is like the team that was placed at the bottom by all the people, everybody doubted them, ends up in the finals. Like that's probably like the most ideal scenario I can think of. I really hope that happens.
And plus the memes after every win is like the best part too.
Oh yeah,
And just
that's
seeing
a
the-
good
Yeah.
meme.
The tsunami take over.
Yeah, Patty Swaggin is notorious for making a meme immediately about some body of water, most likely an ocean, just sweeping away the competition. I think that's amazing. I literally, after that game was over, was sitting in general chat waiting for that picture to pop up because it's one of my favorite parts of their wins. So
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Fruition Premier and Polar Ace, the first series of yesterday's matches. Fruition.
Loki's Penta.
Fruition's pretty good.
I mean, I would argue that Loki,
Took Phoenix.
I
to
don't
Penta.
Uh, Yeah.
No, Loki,
AD did all
Loki
the
took
work.
Phoenix's Penta because
Yeah.
he with that 5-man Recon engage deserved it when that fight started.
Phoenix sent it in lane though.
Yeah, he did, but so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll never
It
know
was
who truly
Penta.
deserved that Penta. But I heard that Loki got reported by his team after that happened. So
Can you report
Tilted got
custom
reported.
games?
yeah,
Tilted got
apparently you
reported.
can.
Oh,
They all got reported.
Deserved ban.
Yeah.
I think they all got reported.
Yikes.
Well, to
Um,
talk about this series,
Yeah.
it was pretty clean. I think Polar Ace is like, I don't know what's going on with them. I think they're like at like an all-time low moral wise within the team. Like this is the lowest, knowing Polar Ace for what 2 years now, a year and a half.
Mhm.
Like overall, this is like the worst I've been seeing them play. The lowest point they're at. Like they just don't look like their normal selves. Like it's weird. It's hard to say, but Fruition is still looking to me the best team in the league and still looking really strong.
Agree.
Yeah, I think so Polar Ace versus Fruition was our finals last year, right? And this is
Correct.
like our big hype matchup because it's like, it's a rematch.
Repeat,
Um, And I don't know, I just felt like I I mean, I don't know if like Polaris's mentality was in the right place. Like it almost seemed like they were playing extremely defensive. Like especially like for a team like Polaris who did take games off of fruition in the finals. Like
Yeah,
they,
only took
they
4 games, and
yeah,
like 2 of those games, the losses were like really close. It
right.
wasn't a blowout.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. So
Right, and that's what's really shocking to me. It's like I expected a better fight. Like I predicted the 2-0, but I didn't expect it to be much of a wash as it was.
Mhm.
And I really hope they figure it out because we put Polaris like near the top in all of our standings. Like they definitely have the capability, but it's just not showing at all. And like they are very soon going to get overshadowed by like the middle of the pack teams like Schism, etc. Like those teams are going to start getting more wins, and then Polaris is going to start falling behind because I think they're almost tied for last place.
If
So
Essentia wins tomorrow, they're tied for last place.
yeah,
So that's like crazy to think of a team that some people like Sana, I think, ranked them first. Like he expected them to be the best team, and now they're almost tied for last. Like it's crazy to see that.
yeah.
And it's like we're already halfway through the season. Like they need to start. Like they need to get it together. To be honest,
Yeah, and
'cause they're
like
running out of time.
Jack, I think like he was on our podcast last week. Like he like I've never seen him play Callista before. Maybe I'm like not remembering correctly, but he was just put on Callista, and like it just seemed like he wasn't like comfortable in the champion. So like I don't know like how their drafts work, but like maybe there's an issue there because I'm not sure exactly who their coach is, but like I think for people can mostly agree that their drafts were kind of questionable. Both series, like they had like Callista Leona bot lane, and then they left open like the biggest thing was they 5-banned Dorjin, right? And like that was shocking to me because it's like okay, like you're leaving open everything for Tilted, you're leaving open Kate Morgana, you're leaving open like Urgot for now, which he's like that's like his champion, like that's kind of crazy to me. Like I'm not a coach at all, but like that seems like the worst thing you can do is ban away
Yeah.
someone who like has shown he can play more than one champion. Like maybe not to the same level as Kha'Zix, but like that's really bold. How do you feel about that, Schwifty?
I mean, I agree, and I think that a lot of drafts in this league are like I think our team is pretty good at drafting. Like a lot of the drafts in the league is what I'm trying to say is that they'd make some questionable things. Like when I was casting last night, I remember watching Cetra picked first picked Sejuani immediately after they just got blasted by Urgot in the first game. They leave Urgot up. They first pick Sejuani. They take Urgot, and then I'm like, okay, well, who are they going to pick up to go with Sejuani? And they proceed to draft not a single melee champion to use half of Sejuani's kit. Like that's one of the whole points that you draft Sejuani for is so you can skirmish with your with your jungler and do stuff with all that CC. But he just never did anything. And I mean, like, what's the point? Like, it seems like an obvious drafting thing to me. So that's my main point.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But we got some good news coming for Polaris. Like, doesn't Horizon come back next week?
Oh, I didn't know about that. So
Horizon doesn't go back to its house for 2 more weeks, but I think he's able to play next week, like from home. So that'll be huge once Horizon's back, because they used a completely different support for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, with that though, I wonder if he's been like kind of out of practice, and I mean, he will need some time to get back into it. Obviously, like playing at this level, like especially in like fives,
shake off some rust.
Right,
Yeah.
like if he really, really wants to come back, like and save this team, essentially, like he's gonna have to put in work, to get to the form that he was, So yeah, I'm 100% behind him. I really hope he comes back strong and motivated because they really need it. And I think the old team, like the whole 5-man roster from finals last year, like needs to come back. Cause yeah,
I agree. I think they're kind of at a spot where like they're just going downhill. So any little change can possibly help them, and I hope it does help them.
yeah.
All right, and with that being said, looking at tomorrow's game and Thursday's game, or series, I should say. Let's look at the Impulse Ghosting versus Essentia Gaming first. Who do you guys think will take the win in that one?
So I've been talking up Essentia for the couple of weeks, and they've been disappointing me really hard lately. So I got Impulse ghosting 2-0 this series. Impulse is coming off a big win, their first one, I think, in Nightfall, if I'm correct. They beat
Yeah,
Centro last week.
yeah.
And they faced Fruition and Recon, who personally I thought they were the two best teams
Yeah.
coming into the league. So that's
I
a
mean,
hard
I agree.
matchup.
That's what we were saying. Like we got
Yeah.
them out of the way. And Recon, we played. I was gone, and we
Yeah,
played with
Karaoke's a
our
top laner,
friend
right?
top laner, autofill
Yeah,
80
true.
carry, and we still took them to 3 games. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the games, we were even using this. We're with
Oh
our new
yeah.
impulse. We were using a coach that doesn't usually draft for our team, so there's some issues with that. So I mean, we still lost. I wasn't there, but I mean, personally, it doesn't really matter to us. And then Fruition, obviously, just from watching the other teams and playing against them, it's our record kind of shows like is pretty deceiving. I think we're definitely
Yeah, I agree.
easily in the top half, and I would say like no meme probably in the top 3 right now, just from playing against all these players and solo queue and stuff like that, and other tournaments and scrims, because these guys are some people we played against before we joined this league. So
Yeah, I personally, I said 2-0 for Impulse here. Essentia has been kind of doing some wonky stuff with like the players that they're choosing. And yeah, I think Impulse, like you said, is like they got the short end of the stick with like the random teams that they'd face. Um, but yeah, I think that they got that out of the way, like you said, and they have a much easier like second half of the split. So yeah, I think you guys are going to take it 2-0. I'm impressed by your players' individual play. Like I think like that in itself will overshine Essentia as a whole.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
currently the standings are sitting like everyone's like these are really close standings right now. A lot of teams have won the top 3 of Fruition, Recon, and Lakeside, I think, right? Let me pull it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lakeside's the only other team. So everyone like the standings are really close still. So if Impulse wins this, they're already in the top half again. So
Right.
especially after that hard like
I
race run.
also predict 2-0. So
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Essentially,
Yeah.
it's just been looking weak. Like they can't figure out their top lane situation. Roster's already locked, and I still don't think they figured it out. So
I mean, I personally
don't
feel
know.
like they had a good top laner in Cerberus, like a solid top laner, but I think switching to
Skies.
yeah, Skies, I think he has like the lowest KDA
Yeah, he's the
like
lowest. He's
performance.
2 kill or like 1 kill, 1 assist, and like 10 or
10
11
deaths,
deaths.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
And that's kind of an interesting choice. I believe he is playing tomorrow too, so hopefully he can like bounce back and prove us wrong. But yeah, I really hope they figure it out because it's not looking too good right now.
yeah. Well, we'll see.
All right. Next game that we have on the list here is Recon 5 versus Schism.
This is gonna be good.
Start with Cerulean here.
This is gonna be really good. First thing I think of is just the top lane matchup. Dax versus Tanzo. I think a lot of people like argue like these two to be 1 and 2. You know, like player ranking wise in the top lane. And I think we'll finally figure out like who that is. I think Tanzo himself has even said that like Dax is like one of the top laners that has given him trouble before. Usually he's pretty confident against most players, but Dax has been someone who's given him a hard time. And I think Dax being on Schism was the one who turned that team around, in my opinion. So he's going to be playing 110% because he has to put in that work to allow Schism to succeed. So you're going to be facing against a very, very tough opponent in Dax, and I don't know if Tanzo will be able to handle that. And yeah, ultimately it just comes down to like the rest of the, like for example, the bot lane, like Paradox and Scrim, they had a really good week last week. Like Paradox got a penta. I think he only died once. Like he pretty much had a redemption game. When we were saying that Paradox was not performing that well. So like, I think they've got to repeat a performance like that to beat Schism, and then Sandillion and Moody just need to keep doing them, like very solid players. I think Recon's going to win this 2-1 in my opinion.
All right, Kiba.
All right. Yeah, I agree with the 2-1. So the way I'm currently looking at Recon is they're performing in every other league. Come to Nightfall and they're looking rough. Like Recon's this team that I thought was going to be pretty dominant, especially since the addition of Moody and a few other changes that they had with the bot lane. But I thought they'd like have more of it. They're obviously 3-0 right now, but nothing has been dominant. Like everything has gone to 3 games except for last week they 2-0'd Polar Ace, but we already talked about Polar Ace being down. I don't think that's like a huge accomplishment being Polar Ace at this time.
Yeah.
And their wins against Essentia. Essentia is the worst team in the league right now, or like I shouldn't say that, but like they don't have a single win yet, but that's not a big feat beating them, and that went to 3 games. And then as we talked about with Impulse, that went to 3 games, and that was probably their hardest opponent so far. But just overall, I don't think they're looking the strongest. We were expecting a lot from Sandillion, and he's been performing like some games, then other games he's just not there. Obviously, last week was the whole Paradox and Scrim, like their highest moment, but we have to see if they can repeat it, as they obviously haven't. Week 1 and week 2, like they obviously didn't play that good. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think if their balling can repeat what they're doing, and then Moody and Sandillion can bring it together with Tonzo being the consistent player right now, I think they could be one of the best teams. But first, they have to put it together for me to say much on them. And then
Yeah.
Schism with Dax is just, I think they're middle of the pack, high tier team, and they could possibly take this series. But I see Recon winning 2-1.
Yeah.
I agree. I see Recon 2-1 also. I mean, since they've all usually gone to 3 games, I'll agree with you. But if they keep winning 2-1 though, then you can start to attribute that maybe they're just a actually good team, because winning in 3 games still is a good accomplishment, because you're adapting to the enemy team in these best of 3s. Like, I wish always when teams would scrim, a lot of times you can't get a best of 3 due to time and stuff,
Right.
but it's actually good because you first of all, that's the format we play here, and it's just better because adapting to teams during and it's better practice for the playoffs too, which is all that really matters anyway. So
Yeah, I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. I'm gonna say Moody is gonna have his best game yet in
So-
this series.
Yeah, Moody still has to show up. Like
Yeah.
last week, he had his big "call me out and I'll make you feel the wrath of Moody," and then he came out and went 2-5 first game, I think. So like he still hasn't had his like impressive like series for me. I think he's a good player. He's had his impressive moments, but I don't see him being like the Moody we expected yet. Still,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
Just
think
need to see
especially
more.
in the matchup against Drops, though, I think it's going to really make him succeed, just because he might be
Yeah.
able to like abuse him in the jungle. So I think if there is a game where he's going to pop off, I think it's going to be this one tomorrow.
yeah. But a big thing might also be like Tonzo's been that consistent factor at top lane. Maybe Dax can mess Tonzo up, and like that can affect Moody's play too without having that consistent lane up there.
I'm not
So-
sure who does the shot calling, but I mean, if Tonzo becomes like too far behind, like I don't know if he's like struggles with like his communication deteriorating because he's not doing well himself. That could also be something. So we'll see. I'm really excited to watch that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really hard match. That one's on Thursday.
Oh,
And
it's on Thursday.
with that, Kiba, are we gonna get another little bet or something? Because it seems like every podcast that we do now, there's a little something that you put towards a team or a player.
Have you ever
and
had to
so-
pay up anybody?
No,
Yeah.
everyone sucks to be honest.
What did you say about Lakeside? What did you say about Lakeside last time? Didn't you say something?
I said week 1 if they get like if they had a 2-0, that's the only time they lost. So
Oh,
yeah, if they 2-0'd or something. But I'll
So-
give you this Schwifty.
all right.
Yeah.
If you get a Penta, I'll get you a mystery skin.
Oh,
I have to get a whole penta just for a
Yeah.
mystery skin. Oh man, no. Okay.
just for a mystery skin. It's not
It's
about
free,
the
man,
actual
just take
reward.
it.
It's about
okay. Yeah. Well, what happens if I don't get a penta? Nothing.
I mean,
You don't
There's
get
no
mystery
risk.
skin.
Okay. Okay. I'm
I'm
in.
getting something out of this. Like
I'm in.
I can't be the one paying up.
Okay, that's a little unfair. I mean, you just get to sit back
Whoa.
and watch, and I
Whoa.
have to work so hard to get a penta.
See, Michael, he
Yeah.
attacked me for being a bad support
Jesus.
last night. Now he's attacking you for offering him a mystery skin. So
Man.
All right, no, you got a deal, dude. But
okay,
it's free. This is the freest mystery skin I've ever seen. I mean,
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad we got that out of the way. Good talk.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because it seems like every time we do a podcast, we have to make sure that Kiba does something where he's gonna either lose $10 or nothing happens.
I'll give you one too. If you don't moan on stream next time, I'll give you a mystery skin.
Wait, if I don't moan
Yeah, if you
again,
don't.
for the rest of the season or just this next
Rest of the season, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, I think
If
it
you
needs
don't
to be
moan once on stream, the rest
I mean,
of
the
the
fact that
season,
you have to pay him not to moan on stream is a little questionable. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey,
I gotta
Swifty,
sh-
you enjoyed it.
sometimes.
Relax, okay?
Zana, I gotta shut
That's
you up
why
though. You
that's why. What you're gonna shut me?
you-
Okay.
Well, yeah, you solo casted 2 games, right? You were super hype, even in unhype moments. You know, like you were yelling while they were walking to Baron.
Yeah, come
So-
on. You can't keep him hype. The chat was going. I was getting okay. You know
And then
what?
I mean, I'll be like, okay, if the guy wants to moan for like 10 seconds,
Let him.
like,
He's
let the
earned
man
it.
moan.
He's earned the
okay?
moan.
Well, okay.
He's
You're
earned
right.
moan.
You're right. You earned it.
You know, that's one of the reasons why Schwifty wanted to join in. He's like, damn.
Oh yeah, I saw you struggling, dude. I saw you struggling.
Yeah,
I'm
he was like,
I'm
man,
gonna
let me
slide
get
it.
in on
I'm gonna
that.
save this
He's
guy.
like, let me help out this guy, and then Schwifty just took over, and I was able to kind of just back off a little bit and just relax there, but moan off stream after I realized that I need to mute, but nobody else heard that part.
Your casting was really good though, Schwifty. I was impressed.
Yeah, I was really
Thank
impressed.
you.
It was really good.
Dude, it was literally the first time I cast in like 2 months, so I was flubbing everything. But yeah, give me cast. I'll cast more if you guys want me to.
Nice.
Schwifty and Tanzo cast? Question mark.
Ooh.
1v1s? Question mark.
1v1s.
Ooh. 1v1 tournament casters.
Are we gonna do another one now, Kiva? Where if we do a
No.
1v1, somebody wins something?
No.
No.
I just want to keep getting Kiva's money. I want to Kiva's throwing out his money left and right here with these bets, and so now like I can't moan, and Swifty has to get a pentakill. All right, well, on to the next topic here. We are going to
Poggers.
take a look at this next segment called "Who Has the Edge," and each one of us has decided based on a was it like a 200% scale, 100% on one side, 100%
Here,
on
let
the
me
other?
explain.
Yeah, go for
So-
it. Yeah, you go for
so-
it. You're the one who knows what's going on here.
Yeah. So
August.
a very talented Nightfall admin created this thing. He
Cut
took
that.
inspiration. If you guys saw LCS TSM versus C9, they did this segment where they put all the players and their matchups, and they put their faces, like saying like how much they think someone has the edge in a certain matchup. So we decided to do that for the 2 matches to Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and show them, we'll kind of talk through our picks.
All right. Well, we're going to start off with the first game on the list that we have right here, which is Essentia and Impulse. And you'll see the cluster of faces there.
Oh no.
It looks so weird.
That doesn't look right.
It doesn't look the greatest, but you are able
So
to
smushed.
you are able to tell what's going on. So let's talk about the top laners here. You've got Skies, Lolly, and Rexilus, and it looks like every single one of us are sitting at about 100% on Rexilus here.
That's the correct answer. Rexalis. It's Rexalis, but
Oh,
you know,
Rexalis,
whatever. I
okay.
mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't want to be that guy. Yeah, he will definitely go in hard in this lane. I will say. Just gonna
Yeah.
make that bold prediction.
I mean, I think the biggest thing about this is because Sky's Lolly had such a poor performance in his first game. Like, it's very hard to like put any type of percentage towards him. Like, that was me personally. Like, I feel like Rexalis has like shown up in the game that you guys won, and that was more than enough information for me to put him all the way towards the right.
Yeah. So about Rexalis, so like he didn't even play the first 2 weeks. Like he played one match week 2, I think.
Yeah,
And then
we
he
had
played
our
week 3 when you won.
Yeah, we
So-
had our. We were in the process of transitioning our top laner that we had been with from the very start to more of like a coach, manager kind of guy. Also sub. He'll sub for us if we ever need him to still, because he was just getting burnt out in league and whatever. So, yeah, and now we're just gelling with Rexalis, and yeah, so that's the story of that.
All right.
So obviously what we've seen from Rexalis was good, and then what we've seen from Skies is bad. So this is a
2 and
pretty
2
easy
together.
one.
Sound yeah, sounds
All
pretty
right.
easy solution.
For the junglers now, we've got a little bit of separation, difference from the top lane. Jungle, as you can see, Cerulean, you're 50-50 here. I am about 100% towards Bluxy. Schwifty is about 50. And then on the opposite side, you have I wasn't here for this, so I don't know who's that face that is with Kiba, but they're about 50%.
Shido.
That's Shido?
Yeah, Shido.
Oh man,
Poggers.
that's
All right.
That is poggers. All right, so Shido and Kiba have decided that about 50% towards Haru.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't really impressed by either of these players, and like I tried really hard to remember like Bluxy's play. I also think he was someone who hasn't played all of the series as yet. I think he's only played like one or two.
He might have
No,
been.
he's played all of
I
them,
think he's
right?
been here for all of them.
The
Uh,
first series, he played game 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
against
why.
Fruition.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
came in later
Mhm.
for that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say like it's still kind of 50-50 because Haru for me is kind of hit or miss. Like I think he has good games. I think he performs poorly sometimes. So that's why I was kind of 50-50. I feel like in terms of who has the edge, like it's very hard for me to tell like which one of them has the edge. But
Mhm.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe you guys can shed some light on your
Yeah.
Well,
picks. But
I mean, personally, I don't really know Haru much at all. I don't even recognize him. So I recognize some of these other players and stuff, but I don't know who he is. So I'm not gonna just make this random guy a better jungler than my jungler
true.
just for bias playing with him. So who knows? If Haru just smurfs all over Blexy this series, might have to reconsider a little bit, but we'll see. I have confidence,
Yes.
boy.
So with Haru, it's like his team obviously hasn't been winning, but his performances alone haven't been bad. And the way I looked at it is Haru's highs have been higher than Bluxy's, and his lows aren't as low as Bluxy's.
That's a good way to
So
put it, yeah.
the games Haru loses, he performed better like overall than if you look at
Okay.
Bluxy.
Makes sense.
So that's why I haven't rated like that. But I think both junglers still have a lot to prove. So
That is completely true. Yeah.
All right. Now moving over to the mid lane here. Ono and your nurse, and all 5 of us have our faces over towards your nurse. 4 of us have about 100%, and it looks like Shido is going to place himself at 50% there. Sadly, Shido cannot explain why, but I think the rest of us here, with what we have to say, can kind of give our insight on why your nurse is the better mid laner in this matchup.
Personally, I think your nurse is gonna completely dominate. Oh no, like, like in this game, like your nurse is like really shown up. It's just sometimes like maybe in the earlier on series, like you talked about some of the reasons why like you guys haven't been like winning the games. But I think your nurse is like your highlight player in my opinion, and he will definitely when matched up against Ono will have no problem. And the thing about it is I need to watch out for is your nurse able to translate that lead to everybody else? Because I think he has struggled in the past with like getting a really big lead, but then not being able to translate it, leading up to you guys to have an easy win. Maybe you guys struggle a little bit.
Yeah. That's actually a really good way of putting it. So to shed some more light, Nurse is like just so good at laning, like an absolute beast. Until I joined this team and started playing with him, he was I would never get out CS'd by my mid laner in lane, like literally maybe 1 in 15 games. And I'll admit I haven't been CSing well in these league games, but that's another story. So and then in these scrims, I'm just like all consistently being like, how the hell is this guy like 10 CS up on me? Like I've like 120 at 12 minutes, and this guy's at 130, like shit like that. So he does that very consistently, and he lanes against really mid laners that are ranked really high when we play them in other tournaments and scrims, like grandmaster mid laners, and very rarely will even go even in lane. I'll almost always see him just like ahead and stuff like that. But like some of the things you were saying, he does struggle when it comes to, in my opinion, sometimes making some dumb decisions by getting caught out a little bit too far when he has like a 600 gold shutdown and really swinging the whole game in moments like that. But he's been working on it the last couple of weeks. We have yeah. Nurse will definitely perform really well in this series, in my opinion.
Yeah, your nurse has looked great. And Kiba?
Yeah, so the way I see Nurse is a really aggressive player who can play early game really well, and then his mental booms, and then he throws games
No,
sometimes.
his mental doesn't boom. He has no.
He
There's
does.
no mental for him. There's no.
That's good insight, actually.
Yeah,
we were really
yeah.
worried about him for a second.
He's pretty. He's pretty. Like, this is frustrating, but I'm behind, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
our mental, I would say our biggest mental problems are our top side. His mental's a little weaker than the rest of the team, I'd say.
Whoa.
Heroes in chat, he can correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's my general perception of it. So
Well, like from what I see from their like early, like the week 1 on his quirky, he got really far ahead and then just starts getting cut out a lot. So I assumed it was mental, but maybe not.
no,
What
it's
you're
just
saying.
just making poor decisions
Poor
about who he
decisions,
can
yeah.
1v1 and stuff like that at points in the game.
That makes sense. But then looking at Ono, who statistically has been one of the lowest tier mid laners in Nightfall so far. He's a really passive mid laner. Like he's a really supporty type of mid laner, so he doesn't make any big plays. And I think your Nurse will just have a free
Abuse
lane
that.
and be able to
Yeah.
capitalize on it. Yeah, so that's why we're so far over there for him.
All right. Now, keep moving on down. We have Rat and Schwifty. They are the
Yeah,
80
so I
carry
think-
role. And Schwifty, it makes sense. Put himself in 100%. But the three of us are here are over on the other side of that line right
I
now.
mean, I'm just waiting to play the game so I can show you, and then you can.
Hey,
That's all I'm saying.
I'm sure all these players feel the same way, but we got to talk about it beforehand.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's
Fair
a-
enough.
It's Rat is Essentia's highlight player in my opinion. If Essentia succeeds, it's probably because of Rat and the lead he's able to translate to the rest of the game. We can kind of talk about the bot lane together here because I kind of based my decision off of like as a bot lane. That's why I put him and Friesman kind of at the same area. I think the lane is going to be very close. Like I didn't put 50% because I have seen like Rat's prior performances and he's like shown up for Essentia to like end up winning like in the one game that they did. And in the match against Recon, like he completely snowballed against Paradox. Granted, Paradox wasn't playing that well back then, but that's kind of why I put it closer to Rat. But I would say it's a little bit closer to 50 in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So from what we've seen from Rat, like other players, it's just like he's been playing really good, but then like his team isn't the strongest, so that could be hurting him a lot too. But I think Essentia's bot lane together are a really strong bot lane in this league, so that's why I'm so far over. But I do think it's a really close matchup. I just haven't seen enough from Schwifty yet.
Schwifty, if anything, this is going to give you some crazy motivation.
I don't need it. I'm I'm already confident in my ability.
There we go. That's what I like
It's
to
just
hear.
like a lack of what we've been able to show so far. So
You know, the good thing about this is though, is like you talking with us here, like it makes me want to watch. Like I'll be honest, like sometimes, like especially last week, the Cetra versus Impulse matchup. Like I didn't really know anything about either team, so it was very hard for me to be like, damn, I'm so excited to watch that game. But like having you here, it's like, wow, I really, really want to watch this game now because I want to see like
dude,
if Schwifty can back
Impulse
forward.
fan,
So,
come on.
so I really hope other people feel that way too. Like that's why, like one of the reasons why this podcast is so good in my opinion is because it gives people like the personal like damn, I really wanna
Connection
watch
to the
this people.
team. Like yeah,
I think that's really good.
I agree.
Getting closer to Schwifty. No one would get more connected with you now because you join us here. Okay, you joined in.
we just
You
made
joined
the
in.
same face at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah. You joined in the ADC and the supports a little bit, but we do have to go more in depth on specifically why Friesman and Herrick's decisions. I chose 50 just because from the way these two have been playing and how they do together with their ADCs, to me, they just seem similar in play and in what they do. And there's not really much you can say is more or less for a player. So that's why I went with 50.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So once again, to go off like statistics, Friesman being on one of the lower tier teams is putting up the best numbers besides Phoenix Main, of course, who has like crazy stats. Is putting up the best numbers for supports. He's not dying a lot. He's got a crazy amount of assists. Like he's got the third highest assist leader and the lowest deaths, I think, or second lowest deaths. Like he's putting up good stats for the team he's on. So I think he is a top tier support in this league. And then obviously Impulse had a struggle at the start of the season going against Fruition and Recon. So we probably haven't seen the best from Hero yet, but I just rate it like that for now because from everything we've seen from Friesman has been really dominant.
Yeah.
Fair enough. He has been. I did notice that. I was looking at the stats today, so I was pretty impressed by that as well.
All right. So that all we have left to say on these two teams here. And now we're going to move on over to the next game, which is going to be Schism and Recon 5. I guess
We should start at the bottom here.
start at the bottom
bottom here.
Yeah.
just to make Tonzo wait.
My eyes, dude. I keep hitting the wrong thing.
All right, so we're going to start from the bottom now. We have NKDA and Scrim. I went 50-50 there. A lot of the times, to me, it's kind of difficult to specifically say who is a better support, especially
I
when
agree,
you have
100%.
a different style of ADC for either team. So I'm most of the time will probably go with 50, but if I do see something like more particular in that player, then I would move my head. But you guys seem to move yourself more to NKDA here in this game.
Zana, you bring up like the best point in my opinion is like for supports, it's so easy for them to be overshadowed just because like the play style could be totally different. Like you could be playing a lane, like for example, like where you're supposed to be passive. There's no reason for you to like go and do something crazy and like show that you're like this dominant support, right? Like for example, Fruition support, Phoenix main, like they play a very aggressive style. Like Phoenix main dictates that lane. Their success, I would say, comes from Phoenix main's engages. But a lot of these supports, play a very like passive role. So it's very hard for me to always rank supports or like do like who has the edge because like it's like they're kind of equal like all in my mind just because they have similar play styles. Not many people are that aggressive. I do want to give the edge a little bit to NKDA just because like Scram had a little bit of a slump so far. Like Paradox had his like breakout game last week, but Scram was still kind of like having
I
a
don't
rough
think he
time.
performed that good. Yeah.
Yeah, and NKDA like from he's played in Nightfall before, and
He was
also
first
like
place when he played.
yeah they were first place, 2 seasons ago. So yeah, like I think he had a little bit of the edge here, and he's also been having a rough time, but I think I think he's one of those players that you're gonna see an improvement. Like I can confidently say that he
Well,
will
the
get
one
better.
reason that I have him voted more is he has been losing games, but he's always on these engage heavy champions, and even in his losses, he's putting up good like stats and kill participation and stuff like that. I was just scrolling through the match histories today, and I remember just like looking at that and saying, okay, well he's actually doing stuff for the team. So that's the only thing I have him on the left because I mean I agree. I haven't seen a lot from either of these teams. Like I don't think I've watched them. I've seen the histories, but I couldn't remember the match if these two played each other or played other teams that I remembered. So
Yeah. It's also hard to see, like, obviously you saw with Schism when NKDA joined week 1, they weren't the best, but then week 2, Jacob and NKDA, like, they played really well, like, once they started to get that development, but now he's with the new ADC because of the person, like, whatever happened with Schism. So
we had a
we have
schism.
to see if they can, like, rebuild that, like, duo chemistry and get that going again. But I still think NKDA is the better support as of now.
All right. Moving ourselves just one step above to Peridian and Paradox. Let's start with Kiba here because you have a 50-50 right now.
Yeah. Paradox didn't play that great week 1 and week 2 and then had a really good week 3. But as a lot of people talk about, he's like the bot lane for Recon is still like the weakest part of them, as people say. And I don't know much about Peridian. So it's pretty much to see, like, can Paradox do it again? If not, I don't know anything about Peridian, so I'm going to rank them evenly. There's just not much to go off of.
I can shed a little bit of light on this. So Schism Jacob, who was their former AD carry, won't be able to play as much just for personal reasons. So Peridian is their sub who's going to be moving up to a starter. He hasn't played in any matches yet, which is why like I put more of an edge to Paradox, not only because of Paradox's breakout game, but because I just don't know what to expect from Peridian yet. I don't think it's fair to put it 50-50 because I think Paradox has at least shown
yeah, he's
like
a
his
proven
kind of skill
like
level.
at least a player. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I don't want to put him at 100%, because he has had his faults, and there's a chance Peridian could, come out and be like, "Hey, my name is Peridian, and there's a reason why I'm better than you." So, I'm really excited to see how he performs, but Paradox has the edge for me.
All right, Swifty.
Yeah, I mean, he said it basically. I've seen Paradox, I've seen him play, and I know he's a competent AD carry, and I don't know who this guy is, so that's yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and
But for mid lane, for who I do know, I know Sindillion. I've played with him for quite a while, or played like around in the same leagues that he's played in, and he's always been a really good mid laner in every league that I've played in. So I'm assuming he's good here as well. And from what he's played, he's done pretty well. I mean, they beat us, and his Zoe is just so disgusting. Like,
Yes.
actually,
Zoe's
actually
insane.
disgusting. And that was one of the problems we had in pick ban in that game was our coach was like, we don't ban Zoe because Zoe's a bad champion now. And we're like, I mean, he's a one trick, and that's not, I mean, not a one trick, but that's his main, and he's not even true either, buddy. So unlucky. But yeah, so that's why I have having the edge in this matchup.
all right. Just keep on going with
Yeah.
this list here. Mid lane, you have Cool and Sindillion. I put them at 50-50 just because I kind of like how Cool and Sindillion both have been playing. But to me, it's like these two players are how do I say this? They really haven't shown me that they can hold their own when it comes to this team play, because when you look at some of these teams, some of these players really focus on helping out the team, which is perfect, which is completely fine. But when it comes down to like really digging deep into that specific player, I think at least for R5's sake, it really shows a lot on like Tonzo and Moody, and so it kind of puts Sindillion in a place where he's not really being seen. Like we talked about with Cerulean, with the support kind of being shadowed, and that can happen with a mid laner. And so that's why it's like I put him at 50 because I feel like these two are pretty even at the moment. But I'm very
That's
interested
fair.
in seeing how this game is gonna make that change for me.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's a good way to put it. I mean, for me personally, like Sindillion is those players who, like you said, it gets overshadowed by the rest of his team because there's always like a lot more to talk about the other players. But I mean, that doesn't like for the matchup directly between Cool and Sindillion. I think Sindillion, if he gets his hand on Zoe, even more so, I think he'll outperform Cool. Just based on the play I've seen in the past as well. Like he's one of those players you can always expect to have a positive impact on the game. Not necessarily something like very very out there, but he'll always like put his stamp on the game and be like, hey, I did my job, So
Yeah.
Yeah. So I only have Sandillion like I'm like halfway towards him because Cool has been performing really well, but I'm just expecting Sandillion to just play out of his mind this series. I think he has something to prove now. Like he hasn't been playing that well in Nightfall this season at least, and I think he's going to be the big performer for Recon this week. So I think he's going to use that as motivation.
All right. Swifty.
Swifty went on this already.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
started.
that's right, that's
Remember he's my OG from the day.
I was looking at okay. Now jungle drops Moody. All five faces are over on this side with Moody.
and there's a reason I'm all the way over on the edge. I was going to make a bold prediction that Moody's going to have his pop-off game Thursday. I think he's going to completely dominate drops and outperform him because especially the way we've been talking about Moody, I think he even made a Twitter post saying that he's going to unleash his full potential. So
Is his wrath going to be swift?
yeah, his wrath is going to be swift. LMFAO. So he's gonna come out strong, and I'm really excited to see if he can actually live up to that. If he doesn't, then we're gonna have a lot more to say, and he can count on that. So
Yeah,
Okay.
after we're all five over here, if he does not come out here, drops just must be insane jungle then, I guess.
Facts.
yeah.
I mean, Drops just look good sometimes, and then he looks like awful other times. Like he's either like he's got no in between for me right now. Like it's either really good or really bad. So
And that's one of those qualities that you really don't want in competitive. Like that's actually the more inconsistent a player is in my opinion, like makes them a worse competitive player. because you can still have high highs, but the low lows just impact your team way in a much worse way. So
Schwifty 2020.
I'm serious.
Wow.
I'm serious.
That
That's
was a
my.
quote
That's
if
my.
I've ever heard one. Wow.
Okay.
The high highs are better than the low lows. Good
It's
job.
true. It's true.
Million IQ.
Okay,
Oh,
Tanzo versus Dax.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, based on the bar, you have Shido and Schwifty about 50%, but still over the line.
I don't know these players. Yeah.
So, and Kiba, Cyrillian,
I
you
mean,
guys
not
have-
like not like in a rude way. I haven't seen enough of them to know like who's better.
Yeah, Kiba, Cyrillian, you both have about 50% for Dax, and I have 50% towards Tanzo here.
You go first on night. Why do you have Tanzo?
I have Tanzo here because there was a lot of hype after the game where Dax played Kale, and yes, he has been performing very, very well, but at the same time, I need to see a little bit more out of him with how Tanzo has been playing and consistently been that dominant force for his team, and I think with this matchup, Dax versus Tanzo, it's gonna really show how Dax can actually play against a decent top laner, which is Tanzo here in the Champions League. So I give it to Tanzo because I feel like he's more consistent. He's shown many times that he is that dominant force up in the top lane, and I can definitely see why though. You and Kiba would really want to put that towards Dax because that Kale game and I believe he played Hecarim were disgusting.
He also had a
True.
really good Irelia game, and then he had multiple kill games. Like, I think every time Dax has performed, like, he's performed well. And
Well, you solve that with a fat ban on Kale because the champion is disgusting.
Dax. The champion is disgusting, especially in Dax's hands. Am I right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think Dax, like I said earlier in the podcast, Tanzo said Dax has been one of the few players that has given him a hard time, and I think that is going to be in his head when he plays against Dax. And he's probably not going to be playing to his full potential. So I think Dax, especially, is a very calm and collected player, and he was the one who turned Schism around, in my opinion. So he's also going to be the one that's going to be performing at its highest ability. So that's why I'm giving Dax the edge, because I feel like it's going to be. A mental game is definitely going to play a role here. Tanzo might be feeling a lot of pressure, and that might cause him to play, not as good. But like it's going to be probably the best matchup to watch this game. So we'll see what happens.
I think, like, out of all individual players, like, in the whole league, this is, like, the two... Like, this is the best matchup to see, in my opinion, is Dax versus Tanzo.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. With that being finalized there, you guys got to see who we thought has the edge. And now to finish off the podcast, we're going to take it over to the Q&A session where you guys can ask us anything. If we can answer it, awesome. If we cannot, sorry, that sucks.
Okay.
I'm gonna be straightforward right there. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, what couldn't we answer? I think we could pretty much answer anything. We got the power here.
Why do you think Tilted stole my Penta?
I will answer this. I think that ever since Kiba said that Kessler is a better mid laner, Tilted's been kind of I gotta prove myself. So that's probably why he's
big fact, bro.
That's probably why he stole the Pentas, because he's trying to be like, hey, this is me, but by the way, guys, trying to steal his thunder, and I think that's incredibly unfair. And if anybody should be kicked off the team, it's Tilted.
Kicked off the team. Damn. You're going
oh my
in.
goodness, jumping. All right. How do Cerulean and Schwifty feel about my AP Amumu mid?
I'm telling you,
Hey,
AP Moon is
tell him.
broken. It's broken.
Yeah.
I said that. It's broken.
He's like, okay, 100% serious. Here we go, guys, and just dies. Like that happened at least 4 times. Okay, he walked back to Summoner's Rift and was dead again. Okay, and then he has the nerve to come onto this podcast and tell me that I was the reason that happened.
No, it was AP Moon, not you. I was taking my frustration out.
That's what I thought.
All right.
There's your answer.
Odds Oceanside sweeps fruition.
Ooh.
I think Oceanside...
5%.
50 to 1, I'd say.
Oh, 50.
Facts. No, what?
50 to 1.
If it's Oceanside...
1 to 50. Yeah, no,
1 to-
50 to 1.
if it's Oceanside, I think they easy slump, like they just destroy Fruition 2-0. But if it's Puddle's side, I give it like a 2-1.
Depends on which
Inspiration.
body of
Oh, okay.
water
So
comes
the
to play.
name is based.
Oh,
Okay,
got
Oceanside.
it.
Okay, if they show
Yeah.
up. Okay, okay.
He's like, I get it.
Fair,
Yeah.
fair.
All right.
I think actually bold prediction here. I think Lakeside takes a game off Fruition.
I can
think
see
that-
3. I could see 3 game. That would be good.
I think that would be super hype for me. Even if Fruition's like in the best form and they end up winning the series, if Lakeside takes a game off of Fruition, they're gonna be in the final. Like that's my prediction.
All right. Why am I the worst ADC and how can I improve? Said by Yuki Bunny.
Be
So
good.
I think did someone say in the start of this podcast that nice Kiba has the information for you right there.
Oh yeah,
Be
yeah,
good.
yeah. That was him. He said I think Yuki Bunny's the worst carry in the league. But then we did say he had the best performance. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yesterday he was smurfing. He was smurfing
Yeah.
yesterday.
That's
don't feel
right.
too bad.
I think just personally, like from what we've seen from Yuki, he just hasn't been good, and we've seen like a lot of like really good things from other ADCs. So it's not bad being a lower tier ADC, but I think like it's just motivation, you know.
And you have nothing to prove to anyone. You know, if everybody does things are bad, then
Yeah.
that's your opportunity to smurf on everyone. There you
For
go.
real, and then Oceanside just keeps winning. Then
Yep.
you guys get first place.
Yeah,
All
possible.
right. Who's your favorite top laner in the league and why is it now?
Seems like a loaded question. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
We'll go to the next one.
let's go to the next one. How was the now ex Patty bot lane?
Oh yeah, we played
Was
against
that the game
Irelia.
too?
Irelia
that
Galio. Irelia Galio.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to play against Irelia Galio. Yeah, as Vayne. We could have won though. We were playing pretty bad.
Oh, we.
What? It wasn't all me. You can't give me that. Fought the 2v2 lane.
Okay.
All right. It was all
Unpopular
me.
opinion.
I take my L for that. I trust me, dude. I was like 15 deaths on Vayne. You know you mess
Yeah.
up. You know you mess up when you have 15.
No, I will never forget. The best part is you're like, okay, guys, I'm here. And then he just dies to a Moo. It's just
Instant
happened at
one shot, like multiple times.
Oh, okay. Well, Tilted can't get my name right, but we'll work on it. Zot Knight. Why is Polar Ace better than Fruition?
When you're
Yeah,
dreaming.
they're not better than Fruition. That's
Well,
just the fact.
it was from the week 1 predictions, or the
Oh,
pre-game
yeah, you
prediction.
got screwed, man.
I
Wow.
said Polar Ace, and that's when Tilted was on the podcast, and I could tell the man was just looking at me like, "What is?"
He
wrong
was.
with
I
you?"
remember that face. I'll never forget that face.
Oh man. Why is Polar Ace the best team? Okay. You know what? We're gonna skip that. I made a mistake. All right. All right.
Someone's got to make a meme of Zon Knight's predictions with Polar Ace at the top, and
Oh,
then
come on.
Zon Knight's face, and then Polar Ace at the bottom. That's a quality meme right there for you. Zon.
Yeah,
agree.
that's quality meme, man. I think that's about the 4th meme that's happened to me in this league, and it's only been a
Yeah,
couple.
you've had a hell
weeks.
of a week, huh?
Now we're just talking about the week. All right, I was talking about the whole Champions League, but okay. Next question. That's awesome. What do we got?
strongest laners. Are you talking about champions or people? Probably
People.
Man, wait till the playoff podcast. We can't do that again.
Cerulean, how did it feel to lose in
And
supportal combat?
combat.
Supportal combat.
Just exactly how you'd expect, having a Vayne that just cues into Galio's stun and then Irelia's stun and then says, "Oh, I'm playing so bad for the next 4 deaths."
I mean, what can you do? What can you do but recognize it?
Oh, I recognized it
Okay, fair. Yeah.
for the
I
next
also
12
recognize
deaths.
Hey, it was a long game. I played.
It was. We
well
could have
some
won.
game.
We could have won. Yeah.
All right.
That's Boom just said
Hey,
that's how he was
someone
playing with Yuki.
who's playing? Who's this guy complaining about asking?
Which team has the best drafting in the league?
Oh, that's
Probably
Coach
Polar
Matt.
Ace.
I mean, I don't know, but I think I've sat in.
It's hard
with
to say
every
what.
team.
I don't know because
Oh wait,
yeah,
I
I also don't know.
totally
Okay,
wasn't listening.
for-
Michael's memeing over here.
Oh, okay. For me, watching these games, I personally have to say, and this is not because it was Coach Matt asking, Fruition, and the way Fruition has picked their drafts, especially now with being allowed to ban, it really has proven that.
I mean, that's half of drafting right
yeah,
there is being champions.
yeah, and even though they have some of the best players in the league, with the drafts that they have, it just exceeds the expectations that people have even further, which it's already up in a higher level because Fruition just has been that kind of dominant force in the Champions League.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's my best draft.
Yeah. I think a coach, in my opinion, that allows his players to like have an open mind in the picks. Like, I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make, from what I've seen, is forcing your players to play something just because it looks good. Like, I mean, you got to understand, like, it's pretty serious, like, in the games that you play, but, like, you don't have to restrict players who, like, maybe someone always is, like, 100%, like, proficient on, like, Ari, for example, but then you force them on to, like, something like Morgana. That's a direct shout out to somebody. I mean, he still performed well. But anyway, what I'm saying is, like, if someone, for a team that's not as good, it's like, you're already setting them back. Like, you should always like give your players options. Like, hey, maybe in this direct matchup, these 3 champions are good. Which one of them do you want to play? You know?
Yeah, that's what we usually do because when we draft, we use like a coach and then basically 5 people's input before the game for a while, and then once you get into champ select, we'll narrow it down. Like, okay, we're either picking give me 2 champions, and it'll be like Irelia, Camille, blah blah blah, and then we're like, well, pick Irelia or some shit, and then we go in hard with that. And you obviously always talking to the laners, and if the coach is like, play this before even asking for his laner's opinion, it's never a good sign in my opinion. But I mean, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes here, so it is hard to say like what drafts are the best, based because we don't know. Well, I guess you could just objectively look at the drafts, but I don't remember at this point what every team is drafting. I'm sure you guys don't either. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any questions that you have yourself, or even that you see in the chat that you want to answer before we end the podcast? Take a look for a second.
Schwifty, what's your number one favorite thing about Nightfall?
Nightfall? I like how everything just looks good. Like, I mean, it just like looks good, and it's very professional in like the aesthetic of it, and the transitions, everything. Like I was pointing that out before the show.
Yeah,
and I like how competitive it feels, because these are all like orgs with good logos. It's still I know that stuff sounds
no,
like
I
petty,
get what you're saying.
but it makes a big difference to playing it. And then you have stuff like stat leaders, top plays, and stuff like that. So yeah, all of those are my favorite things. That's what makes some leagues like stand out as way better leagues to play in.
Yeah, that was definitely our goal for this season, right? Like, we wanted the players to feel like they were really like, a lot of players won't get the opportunity to play in like leagues like this as like a profession, but like putting them in this is like the number one thing we want. It's like have them have the best experience they can, and that's why we've put in so much work with like the podcast, like so much work with the streams. Like, we want to make sure every aspect of it is covered, and hopefully we've been doing a good job so far. But we've learned a lot so far this season, and it's only going to get better from here. Michael, I don't know if you have anything to add, but
Nah.
he's like, yeah, we're
Right, whatever. Good enough.
All right. So I think with that being said, we're gonna end off the stream here. Thank you all for watching. Come back next week, and also make sure to watch the matches that are gonna be going on tomorrow and Thursday. I believe Recon 5 is gonna be on Thursday, and the Essentia that'll be tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll see you all then. Thank you all for watching. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye. Have a wonderful time.